The message came on a Tuesday. Dr. Alan Winters was about to leave the Arecibo, Iowa observatory when the signal alert sounded. He rushed back to his station, coffee spilling onto his white lab coat. Lieutenant Diane Fraser was already there, her eyes wide as she stared at the screen. "It's not random noise," she said. "The pattern repeats every 93 seconds. Alan nodded. "Call the director. Now." Within hours, the observatory was packed with scientists and military personnel. The signal was unlike anything they had seen before. It was clearly artificial and coming from just beyond Mars orbit. By Friday, they had their answer. Earth had received its first alien contact. The year was 2087, and humanity had just learned they were not alone. The message, once decoded, came from something called the Galactic HFY, a union of 37 spacefaring species. Initial excitement swept across Earth. News channels spoke of nothing else. Religious leaders held special services. Stock markets soared then crashed as people tried to guess what this would mean. 2 weeks later, the full translation was complete. The excitement died. The message wasn't an invitation or greeting. It was an ultimatum. Earth civilization has reached the development threshold that qualifies for Concordat oversight, read the official translation. You will surrender all nuclear weapons and advanced technology. You will accept status as a protectorate species. Resistance is inadvisable. The United Nations Security Council met in emergency session. Representatives argued through the night. Some wanted immediate surrender. Others called for resistance. Then the alien ships arrived. 4 vessels appeared in Earth orbit without warning. The largest was almost a mile long, shaped like a curved blade. 3 smaller ships flanked it in perfect formation. The aliens identified themselves. The lead vessel carried Ambassador Xelvor of the Arthaxian species, the military arm of the Concordat. His image was broadcast worldwide. A tall, thin figure with pale blue skin and 4 arms. His eyes were black and showed no emotion as he repeated the ultimatum. You have 14 Earth days to begin the surrender process, Xelvor said. We are reasonable. We do not wish to harm your people, but the Concordat has rules that cannot be broken. At the United Nations Space Command Headquarters in Geneva, Admiral Henry Porter watched the broadcast with a grim face. He was 63, with gray hair and a scar along his jaw from the resource wars. When the screen went dark, he looked at the other officers around the table. Opinions, he asked. General Laura Hudson spoke first. We can't fight those ships. Our weapons are useless against their technology. So we surrender, asked Colonel Frank Miller. Become slaves. Admiral Porter stood up and walked to the window. Below, Lake Geneva sparkled in the sunlight. People walked along the shore, some pointing up at the sky where the alien ships were visible as tiny dots. No, Porter said finally. We stall for time. We pretend to negotiate while we prepare. Prepare what? Asked General Hudson. We have nothing that can touch them. Porter looked at her. That's not entirely true. It's time to activate Project Mjolnir. The room went silent. Project Mjolnir was the military's best-kept secret, a prototype vessel built using technology recovered from a crashed alien scout ship found in Antarctica 30 years ago. The ship was nearly complete but untested. That's a huge gamble, said Colonel Miller. It's our only option, Porter replied. Get me a secure line to the Jupiter shipyards. 3 days later, Earth's representatives met with Ambassador Xelvor. They asked questions, requested clarifications, and promised to consider the Concordat's generous offer. The ambassador seemed pleased with their cooperation. What he didn't know was that deep in the Jupiter shipyards, hidden in the shadow of the gas giant's largest moon, Commander Jack Nelson was receiving new orders. The U.S. Valiant would launch ahead of schedule. Earth's first true warship was about to make history, and the galaxy would never be the same. Commander Jack Nelson stood at the observation deck of the Jupiter shipyards. Through the reinforced glass, he watched as workers in spacesuits moved around the hull of the U.S. Valiant. The ship was beautiful, sleek and dangerous, like a shark. Its dark metal surface absorbed light rather than reflected it. At just over 400 meters long, it wasn't as large as the Concordat vessels, but size wasn't everything. "She'll be ready, sir," said Chief Engineer Olivia Garcia as she joined him. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and lines of exhaustion marked her face. "But I need more time for final tests." "We don't have more time," Jack replied. "Admiral Porter says we need to launch in 72 hours. Olivia sighed. "The dark drive is still experimental. If it fails while we're in flight, then we'll all die quickly," Jack finished with a grim smile. "Better than living as slaves." They walked together through the station to the main engineering bay. The room was full of technicians working frantically on various components. In the center stood a glowing cylinder, the heart of the dark drive. The technology had been reverse-engineered from the crashed alien ship. It allowed the Valiant to travel faster than light while masking its energy signature. "The weapons systems are online," said Nathan Lee, the tactical officer. He was young, but already had a reputation for brilliance. "But the targeting needs calibration." "What about communications?" Jack asked. Lisa Rivera looked up from her workstation. "All set, Commander. We can intercept and decode Concordat transmissions in real time." Jack nodded. "And piloting?" "Just give me the word," said Samantha Kelly with a confident smile. She was the best pilot in the UNSC, with reflexes that seemed almost superhuman. Science Officer Gregory Hughes approached with a tablet. "Commander, I've been analyzing the Concordat message patterns. There's something strange about them." "Strange how?" "The way they talk about Earth. They're not telling us everything. There's a reason they want our planet, beyond just adding another species to their collection." Jack was about to respond when his communication device beeped. "Nelson here." "Commander," came Admiral Porter's voice. "The Concordat is getting impatient. Selvor has issued a deadline, 1 week for Earth to begin surrender procedures. We'll be ready in 3 days, sir." "You better be." "Selvor has threatened a demonstration of Concordat power if we don't comply. Some uninhabited island in the Pacific." The call ended, and Jack looked at his crew. "You heard the man. We have 3 days." The next 72 hours were a blur of activity. Sleep was minimal. Meals were eaten while working. The crew of 87 people would be humanity's first and possibly last line of defense. On the final day, Admiral Porter arrived personally to inspect the ship. He walked the corridors with Jack, nodding in approval. "The United Nations is planning to announce a surrender tomorrow," Porter said quietly. "It's just for show, to buy more time for civilian evacuations to underground bunkers." "And our mission, sir?" Jack asked. "Intercept the Concordat flagship. Show them humanity isn't as helpless as they think." As they entered the bridge, an alarm suddenly blared. Olivia's voice came over the intercom. "Commander, we have a problem in weapons control." Jack and Porter rushed to the weapons bay. Olivia stood over an open panel, her face pale. "Sabotage," she said. "Someone rewired the main cannon to backfire if triggered." "How long to fix it?" Porter demanded. 6 hours, minimum." Jack looked at Porter. "Someone doesn't want us to launch." "Or someone within the Concordat knows about the Valiant," Porter replied. "Launch will proceed as scheduled. Fix what you can in the time remaining." As Porter left to return to Earth, Jack gathered his crew on the bridge. "In 24 hours, we leave for Concordat space," he said. "Some of us may not return, but what we do may save our entire species. Earth is counting on us." The crew nodded solemnly. Outside the viewport, Jupiter's swirling clouds seemed to watch in silence as humanity prepared its first act of interstellar defiance. The small island of Vanuatu vanished in a flash of blue light. One moment it existed, a tiny uninhabited dot in the Pacific Ocean. The next, it was gone, leaving only steam rising from the sea. Screens around the world showed the destruction. Ambassador Xelvor's message followed immediately. "This is but a small demonstration of Concordat power," he said, his four arms moving in what humans now recognized as a gesture of authority. "We can target with absolute precision. No civilian areas need be harmed if Earth complies with our directives." In the White House Situation Room, the President of the United States watched with her advisors. Her face was pale. "My God," she whispered. "They didn't even leave a crater." Admiral Porter stood nearby, his expression carefully controlled. "The weapon appears to convert matter directly to energy. Our scientists theorize such technology, but we're decades from developing it ourselves." "Do we surrender?" asked the Secretary of Defense. "In public, yes," Porter replied. "We announce our intention to comply. Meanwhile, we accelerate the evacuation of key personnel to hardened facilities." The President nodded. "And the Valiant?" "Launching today." At the Jupiter shipyards, final preparations were underway. Olivia Garcia hadn't slept in 36 hours. Her hands were steady as she made the last adjustments to the weapons systems. "I've bypassed the sabotage circuits," she told Commander Nelson. "We'll have about 70% power on the main cannon. It's the best I can do without a complete rebuild." "It'll have to be enough," Jack said. He looked around the engine room one last time before heading to the bridge. The crew was at their stations. Nathan at tactical, Samantha at the pilot controls, Gregory at the science station, and Lisa at communications. They looked tense but ready. "Status report," Jack ordered as he took the command chair. "Dark drive at full capacity," Olivia reported from engineering. "Weapons at 70%, Nathan added. "Navigation plotted," said Samantha. "Course to intercept the Concordat flagship laid in." "Communications dark," as ordered, Lisa confirmed. Gregory looked up from his station. "Commander, I've completed my analysis of the Concordat transmissions. They refer to Earth as a Class 5 resource world. I believe they're after more than just adding us to their collection." "What do they want?" Jack asked. "Based on their classification system, likely our water and biodiversity. Earth has more liquid water than most habitable planets." Jack nodded grimly. "So we're not potential citizens. We're in the way of a resource grab." "Exactly, sir." A communication from the station interrupted them. "Valiant, this is Control. You are cleared for launch. Godspeed." Jack took a deep breath. "Seal all hatches. Prepare for launch." The docking clamps released with heavy thuds that echoed through the ship. Samantha's hands moved across her controls, and the Valiant glided away from the station. "Clear of Jupiter's gravity well in 3 minutes," she reported. "Activate dark drive on my mark," Jack ordered. On Earth, the President addressed the United Nations. "In the face of the Concordat's superior technology, Earth has no choice but to negotiate the terms of our entry into the galactic community," she said, reading from the script Admiral Porter had prepared. In orbit, Ambassador Xelvor watched the speech with satisfaction. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Krill, entered the command chamber. "The humans are being unusually cooperative," Krill observed. "They are pragmatic," Xelvor replied. "They recognize their position." "Our sensors detected unusual activity in the Jupiter sector," Krill said. "Probably evacuating their outer colonies. No matter. They cannot hide." Back on the Valiant, Jack watched as Jupiter receded behind them. "Dark drive ready," Olivia reported. "Engage," Jack ordered. The stars seemed to stretch before them. The Valiant trembled, then shot forward into the darkness of space. Earth's first true warship had begun its mission. Undetected by the Concordat vessels, it slipped away from the solar system, carrying humanity's hopes with it. The Valiant moved through space in perfect silence. With the dark drive engaged, the ship left no energy trail, no radiation signature, nothing that could be detected by conventional sensors. The journey to Concordat space would take 5 days. On the third day, Commander Jack Nelson called his officers to the briefing room. A three-dimensional map of nearby star systems filled the center of the table. "We've been monitoring Concordat communications," he said. "Lisa has done amazing work decoding their transmissions." Lisa nodded. "Their encryption is complex, but follows certain mathematical patterns. I've managed to access their basic military channels." Gregory stepped forward. "What we've learned is disturbing. The Concordat isn't the benevolent organization they claim to be. They're essentially an empire, conquering and exploiting worlds for resources." "Show them," Jack said. Gregory activated a display showing alien text with translations. "These are reports from 23 other worlds the Concordat has welcomed into their community. In each case, the native species was either relocated or reduced to working in extraction operations. Their worlds were stripped of resources." Nathan studied the display. "So Earth would be next." "Exactly," Jack said. "But we've also learned something else, something that gives us an advantage." He nodded to Gregory, who changed the display to show various alien physiologies. "Most Concordat species evolved on low-gravity worlds," Gregory explained. "The average Arthaxian, like Ambassador Xelvor, has only about 40% of human muscle density. Even accounting for their 4 arms, we're physically stronger." "And their ships?" Olivia asked. "Their technology is advanced, but their tactics are predictable," Jack said. "They haven't faced a serious military challenge in over 300 years. They rely on overwhelming force rather than strategy." Samantha leaned forward. "So what's our plan?" "We're still just one ship." Jack smiled. "We're going to hit them where it hurts, then disappear. Show them that humans aren't easily conquered. And we have another advantage they don't know about." He turned to Lisa. "Tell them what you found." "The Concordat fleet uses a standardized communication protocol," she said. "Their ships are networked for coordination. If we broadcast the right signal at the right frequency, we can temporarily disrupt their systems." Jack looked around at his officers. "We'll strike at a key target, deliver our message, and escape before they can mount an effective response." "What target?" Nathan asked. "The Arthaxian home fleet," Jack replied. "The heart of their military power." The room went quiet. Finally, Nathan spoke. "That's ambitious, sir." "It's necessary," Jack replied. "We need to make an impression they won't forget." As the meeting ended, Jack asked Olivia to stay behind. "How's the crew holding up?" he asked once they were alone. "Scared, but determined," she answered. "Some of them sleep with pictures of their families. Others don't sleep at all." Jack nodded. "And the ship?" "The dark drive is performing better than expected. But the weapons," she hesitated. "I'm still not confident about the main cannon. The sabotage was expertly done." "Keep working on it," Jack said. "We'll need every advantage." Later, Jack sat alone in his quarters, looking at a photo of Earth taken from the moon. He wondered what was happening back home. Were the evacuations proceeding? Was the Concordat suspicious? He had no way of knowing. The Valiant maintained complete communication silence. A soft chime indicated they were approaching their destination. Jack put away the photo and headed to the bridge. "Status," he said as he took his seat. "We're approaching the edge of Arthaxian space," Samantha reported. "Their home system is 2 light-years ahead. Any sign they've detected us?" "None, sir," Lisa replied. "Their communications show normal patrol patterns." Jack looked at the main view screen, which showed the stars ahead. "Take us in, Samantha. Stay dark. Gregory, I want continuous scans of their defense grid. Nathan, prepare all weapons. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when you threaten Earth." The Valiant slipped deeper into enemy territory, carrying its message of defiance. The Valiant appeared in the middle of the Arthaxian defense fleet without warning. One moment there was empty space, the next a human warship sat among the alien vessels. For several seconds, nothing happened. The Arthaxian ships hung motionless, their sensors trying to understand what they were seeing. On the Valiant's bridge, Commander Jack Nelson stood tall. Open a channel to all Concordat frequencies. Lisa nodded. Channel open. Sir. Jack looked directly at the communication screen. This is Commander Jack Nelson of the Earth vessel Valiant. The Protectorate offer is declined. Earth does not surrender. The message was broadcast to every ship in the Arthaxian fleet. On their command decks, alien crews stared in shock at the human face on their screens. Weapons status, Jack ordered. Main cannon at 68% capacity, Nathan reported. Secondary systems at full power. Target the 3 nearest cruisers. Disable their engines only. Nathan's fingers moved across his console. Targets locked. Fire. The Valiant's main cannon fired 3 precise blasts. Each struck an Arthaxian cruiser exactly where its propulsion systems were located. The alien ships drifted, their engines dark. The remaining Arthaxian vessels began to move, slowly at first, then with increasing speed. Alarm signals flashed between them. They're responding. Gregory warned. 37 ships powering weapons. Lisa, activate the disruption signal, Jack ordered. Lisa pressed a sequence on her panel. Signal active. Across the Arthaxian fleet, communication systems failed. Ships lost contact with each other. Coordinated attack patterns fell apart as vessels moved independently, some nearly colliding. The signal is working, Lisa said. Their network is disrupted. But the advantage wouldn't last long. Already, some Arthaxian ships were adjusting their systems. Incoming transmission, Lisa reported. It's bypassing our disruption. Put it through, Jack ordered. The main screen showed a tall Arthaxian with dark blue skin and 4 fierce eyes. Unlike War, this one wore ornate armor with glowing symbols. I am High Commander Zrekthar of the Arthaxian Defense Force, the alien said. Your attack is an act of war against the Galactic Concordat. You will surrender your vessel or be destroyed. Jack met the alien's gaze without flinching. High Commander, your ambassador threatened our world and demonstrated weapons on our territory. We are merely responding in kind. With 1 ship. Zrekthar's upper arms made a dismissive gesture. Your species is either very brave or very foolish. Perhaps we're something your Concordat hasn't encountered before, Jack replied. Here are our terms. Withdraw all forces from Earth space immediately and recognize our planet's sovereignty. Zrekthar's expression might have been amusement. You are in no position to make demands. We just disabled 3 of your ships without destroying them, Jack said. That was restraint. We could have done much worse. The Arthaxian fleet was regrouping. Dozens of ships moved to surround the Valiant. Sir, Samantha said quietly, they're trying to box us in. Jack nodded. Prepare to jump on my mark. Zrekthar leaned closer to his screen. No single species defies the Concordat. Surrender now, and your crew may live as servants. Our terms are simple, Jack said firmly. Leave Earth alone, or next time. We won't be so gentle. All vessels firing, Gregory shouted. From every direction, Arthaxian weapons launched toward the Valiant. Energy beams and projectiles converged on the human ship's position. Now, Samantha, Jack ordered. Samantha's hands flew across her controls. The Valiant twisted in space, executing a maneuver no Arthaxian ship could match. As the enemy fire reached their position, Olivia activated the dark drive. The Valiant vanished, leaving the Arthaxian weapons to pass through empty space where the ship had been. Light years away, the Valiant reappeared. On the bridge, the crew exhaled in relief. Status report, Jack demanded. Dark drive functioning at 93%, Olivia reported. Minor damage to porthole sections. We did it, Nathan said, sounding surprised. We attacked the heart of their fleet and got away. Jack allowed himself a small smile. This was just the first step. Now we see how the galaxy responds to humans who fight back. In the Arthaxian Command Center, High Commander Zrekthar stared at the empty space where the Earth ship had been. For the first time in his long career, he felt something unfamiliar, doubt. News of the Valiant's attack spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Within days, every species in the Concordat knew that a small primitive planet called Earth had challenged the mighty Arthaxian fleet. Most thought it was a foolish, doomed gesture. Some saw it differently. The Valiant hid in the shadow of a large gas giant, 11 light-years from the attack site. The crew monitored communications, gathering intelligence. The Concordat leadership is in chaos, Lisa reported. They're calling emergency meetings. Some officials are demanding immediate retaliation against Earth. Jack frowned. Can they track us? No sign they've detected us, Gregory said. But they're scanning this entire sector with everything they have. The ship's systems hummed quietly around them. Repairs were underway in the damaged sections. The crew was tired, but spirits were high. They had struck a blow that would be remembered for generations. Commander, Lisa said suddenly, I'm picking up an unusual transmission. It's directed at us, but using Earth communication protocols. It's not from the Concordat. Put it through, Jack ordered, but maintain security protocols. The main screen flickered, and an alien face appeared. It had smooth, almost white skin and large violet eyes. It looked nothing like the Arthaxians. Valiant vessel, this is Ambassador Thela of the Seldari Union. We wish to speak with you. Jack glanced at Gregory, who whispered, The Seldari are an ancient species. They've maintained neutrality in Concordat affairs for millennia. This is Commander Nelson of the Earth vessel Valiant. How did you find us? The Seldari made a gesture like a shrug. We have been observing the Concordat for centuries. Your ship's technology is unique, but not undetectable to those who know what to look for. Jack tensed. If you can find us, so can the Concordat. No, Thela replied. Our methods are our own, but we wish to meet with you. There is much to discuss. Gregory leaned closer to Jack. Sir, this could be a trap. If they wanted to betray us to the Concordat, they could have done so already, Jack reasoned. He turned back to the screen. Where do you propose we meet? There is a system near your current position. The 4th planet. We will send coordinates. Come alone. The transmission ended. Samantha looked concerned. Are we really going to trust them? We need allies, Jack said simply. We can't fight the entire Concordat alone. 2 days later, the Valiant orbited a small rocky planet with no apparent life. A single ship waited for them. Elegant and silver, unlike the angular Concordat vessels. Jack took a small team to the surface. Gregory for scientific analysis, Nathan for security, and Lisa for communications. They met Thela in a simple structure erected specifically for the meeting. Your actions have created ripples throughout the galaxy, Thela said without preamble. Many species who have suffered under Concordat rule see you as a symbol of resistance. We're fighting for our survival, Jack replied. Thela's large eyes studied him. Humans are unique in our experience. You evolved on a high-gravity world with extreme climate variations. Your physical abilities exceed many species, but more interesting is your cognitive adaptation. You think differently. What do you mean? Most species follow predictable patterns. Humans are creative, unpredictable. You find solutions others cannot see. The Concordat fears this about you. Jack considered this, so they want to control us before we become a threat. Precisely. And now you have proven their fears correct. Thela paused. The Concordat is mobilizing their main fleet. They will attack Earth within days. Lisa gasped. We have to warn Earth. There's more, Thela continued. 27 species currently under Concordat control are watching. If humans can successfully resist, many will join your cause. Jack's mind raced. We need to get back to Earth immediately. But even with the Valiant, we can't stop a full Concordat fleet. Perhaps not alone, Thela said, but you are no longer alone. She showed them a star map with dozens of points marked. These are resistance groups within subjugated worlds. They have ships, weapons, and willing fighters. They await only a signal to rise against their oppressors. Jack looked at the map, then at his crew. A plan was forming in his mind. "How quickly can you connect us with these groups?" he asked. Thiela's expression might have been a smile. "They are already waiting for your command." The Concordat Armada arrived in Earth's solar system with overwhelming force. 117 warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel just beyond Mars' orbit. Their weapons powered up as they formed attack patterns. On Earth, Admiral Porter watched the fleet's arrival from UNSC headquarters. The massive ships filled the view screens, dwarfing Earth's orbital stations. "They brought everything they had," said General Hudson. Porter nodded grimly, "as we hoped they would." He pressed a button on his command console. "All ships, this is Admiral Porter. Execute Operation Harbinger." Across the solar system, 6 hidden shipyards activated. From the dark side of the moon, from bunkers buried deep in Mars, from bases hidden in asteroid fields, Earth's secret fleet emerged. 7 warships in total, including Porter's flagship, the U.S. Intrepid. They were smaller than the Concordat vessels, but built with the same recovered alien technology as the Valiant. Each carried weapons that could damage the alien ships. The Concordat expected to find a helpless planet. Porter said to his bridge crew, "Instead, they'll face the full might of Earth." The human ships moved into defensive positions. On the Intrepid's bridge, Porter received reports from his captains. All systems were ready. All crews prepared for battle. The Concordat fleet halted its advance. A transmission came through on all Earth channels. "This is High Commander Zrekthar," came the familiar voice. "Your pitiful display changes nothing. Surrender now or face extinction." Porter opened a channel. "This is Admiral Henry Porter of the United Nations Space Command. We will not surrender today or any day. Earth remains free." The Concordat ships began to move forward again. The first shots were fired. Energy beams reaching out across space to strike Earth's defenders. "Return fire," Porter ordered. "All ships engage according to plan." Earth's small fleet moved with surprising speed and coordination. The ships darted between the larger Concordat vessels, firing precisely at vulnerable points identified from the data the Valiant had gathered. But the odds were overwhelming. Within an hour, 2 Earth ships had been heavily damaged. The Concordat pressed their advantage, tightening the noose around Earth. On the Intrepid, alarms blared as a direct hit shook the ship. "Shields at 40%, reported the tactical officer. "We can't hold them much longer, sir." Porter checked the time. "We only need to hold a little longer." At that moment, at the edge of the solar system, the Valiant emerged from dark space. But it wasn't alone. Behind it came ships of various designs and sizes, the vessels of the resistance forces Thiela had gathered. On the Valiant's bridge, Commander Nelson surveyed the battle ahead. "Earth's fleet is still fighting," Lisa reported, "but they're taking heavy damage. The Concordat has committed their entire main force, just as we hoped," Jack said. "All resistance vessels. This is Commander Nelson. Form up as planned. Remember your targets." 23 ships from 17 different species moved into attack formation behind the Valiant. They had one advantage the Concordat wasn't expecting: desperation. Each crew represented a species that had suffered under Concordat rule. This was their chance for freedom. "Attack pattern Delta," Jack ordered. "Samantha, take us in." The Valiant led the charge, cutting through space toward the heart of the Concordat fleet. Zrekthar's forces were caught by surprise, their attention focused on Earth's defenders. "They've spotted us," Nathan reported. "Concordat vessels breaking off to intercept." "Keep going," Jack commanded. "All ships, execute jump sequence on my mark." The resistance fleet continued its charge, taking fire but holding formation. When they reached a precise position, Jack gave the order. "Now." In perfect coordination, the Allied ships executed short jumps, appearing inside the Concordat formation. The battle strategy was one no Concordat commander would have considered. deliberate close-quarters engagement where their larger ships had less room to maneuver. On the Intrepid, Porter watched the maneuver with satisfaction. "All Earth vessels, press the attack," he ordered. "The Valiant has returned with reinforcements." The tide of battle shifted. Caught between Earth's defenders and the Resistance fleet, the Concordat ships struggled to maintain their formation. One by one, they began to fall back. On his flagship, Zrekthar could not believe what he was seeing. Humans, primitives from a backwater world, had united the subjugated species against the mighty Concordat. And they were winning. 3 weeks after the battle, representatives from 27 species gathered in a large room aboard the Valiant. The ship had been repaired, its hull still showing some scars from the fight. Through the viewports, Earth shone blue and beautiful. Jack Nelson, now wearing the uniform of an admiral, stood at the head of the table. The aliens around him were diverse in appearance, some with multiple limbs, others with scales or feathers, some barely recognizable as living beings to human eyes. But all shared one thing: they had fought together for freedom. "The Concordat fleet has withdrawn to their core systems," Jack announced. "Reports indicate their leadership council is in disarray." Ambassador Thela of the Suldari nodded. "Many council members have resigned. The military leadership is facing charges of incompetence. The empire they built over centuries is crumbling." A representative of the Vorcha species, a being with green skin and eyes that glowed yellow, spoke next. "For the first time in 500 years, my people walk freely on our homeworld. We owe this to Earth's courage." Similar stories came from around the table. Species that had been subjugated for generations were reclaiming their independence, inspired by humanity's stand. "What we need now," Jack said, "is to ensure this freedom lasts. We propose a new alliance, the Sol Accord. Unlike the Concordat, it will be based on mutual respect and sovereignty." The document was displayed for all to see. It established principles of non-interference, mutual defense, and fair trade between worlds. There would be no subjugation, no resource theft. "Each species remains independent," Jack explained. "But together, we stand against any who would repeat the Concordat's mistakes." One by one, the representatives signed their agreement. Earth, a planet unknown to the galaxy just months before, was now the birthplace of a new galactic order. Later, Jack stood with his original crew on the Valiant's observation deck. Admiral Porter had joined them to share news from Earth. "The United Nations has approved the Sol Accord," Porter said, "and they've authorized the construction of 10 more ships like the Valiant." "What about the crew?" Samantha asked. "Heroes, every one of you," Porter replied with a rare smile. "Earth knows what you did." Olivia looked out at the stars. "When we left Jupiter, I never thought we'd make it back." "I never thought we'd change the galaxy," Nathan added. Gregory was examining data on a tablet. "The Seldari have shared some interesting technology with us. Things that could revolutionize Earth science. And 17 species have requested to establish embassies on Earth," Lisa said. "I'm helping develop translation protocols." Jack looked at his team with pride. "We went out to defend our world. We ended up finding our place in the universe." Porter handed Jack a datapad. "These are your new orders. The Valiant is being refitted for a different mission." Jack read the screen and smiled. "Exploration. We're going to be explorers now." "That's what humans do best," Porter said. "We defend when we must, but we explore because we can't help ourselves." As the others discussed the future missions, Jack stepped away to the viewport. Earth rotated slowly below. He thought about how close they had come to losing everything, and how differently things had turned out. The Valiant would soon leave again, this time not as a lone defender but as part of a fleet. Not as warriors but as discoverers. The ship that had made the galaxy cower would now help it heal. 3 months later, the Valiant departed Earth orbit. Its hull gleamed, repaired and improved. On its side, a new insignia. The Earth surrounded by 27 stars, representing the founding members of the Sol Accord. On the bridge, Admiral Jack Nelson gave the order. "Take us out, Samantha. Let's see what's waiting for us out there." The Valiant's engines glowed as it accelerated away from Earth. The ship that had saved humanity was now carrying its spirit of exploration to the stars. The galaxy would never be the same again.